Hello friends, and welcome to Gardening with Creekside. We are going to do a big midwinter garden tour. It may be winter on the calendar, but I'm telling you, there are signs of spring everywhere here in the garden. And so we're just going to take a walk through the garden. We're going to kind of go everywhere and see everything. This is a real life garden here in North Carolina, a zone 8A, and things are starting to wake up. Lots of good things that we're going to look at. We're going to show you the messes and the successes. We're going to just have fun in the garden as the sun comes in and out of the clouds. We're starting here on the last project that we did here at the house. Remember, this was kind of a complete renovation of this area. We started in late summer with this terraced garden renovation, and so things have gone really well. We have had the garden has been put to rest and went through the winter, of course, like so much of the country. In mid-January we had a couple of weeks of really consistently cold temperatures. Cold for us here in North Carolina, and the garden overall fared very well. There are some areas that had some damage, like for example the better boxwoods that we put here on the back. You will see that there is some burnt damage to this. This was all new growth, and so if you have plants that are showing signs like this, I don't want you to freak out. We're not going to do anything to these boxwoods right now. We're going to leave them alone. Once they start flushing out some new growth, when we get consistently warm temperatures, we can come in here, shape them up, give them a little shot of fertilizer, and all will be well. So if you have shrubs that have some winter damage and they're still alive, like they're not dead, now they have dead foliage on them, but the plants are alive, don't worry about it. You know, that is just part of gardening. No two seasons are ever alike. No two winters are ever alike. No two summers, no two springs. That is the thing about gardening. It always keeps you on your toes, and you're always guessing and trying to problem solve. So that is what we're doing. Not too much to talk about up here in the garden boxes. These, of course, are the new garden boxes. We had very low garden boxes here made out of wood. Our friends at Vago sent us these beautiful, tall, modern boxes, which I am so excited to begin gardening in this spring and summer and fall. This year, I'm going to be using these as a cut flower garden. We're not going to do vegetables in here. We're going to do flowers because I am at a point in my life, in a season of my life, that I want to have beautiful flowers, and yeah, so that's what we're going to do. There are literally hundreds upon hundreds of tulips and daffodils lying underneath the surface. None have poked up here, which I do find quite interesting because this tends to be a warm spot in the garden, but they're still under there all nice and sleeping. I did go ahead and prune my Rise Up Amberness rose. This is a beautiful rose. You know that it's time to prune your roses here in the southeast. That January, early February is the time. You can see I've got new growth popping out right here. You want to go ahead and prune those. Like we've got, these little guys are going to pop out some leaves here pretty soon. So with all your roses, you want to prune them. So think about that. If you haven't pruned your roses and you're in the southeast, now is a great time to do it. All right, coming back here on the back side, this is going to be a great example of messes in the midst of successes. So this area is kind of new, kind of old. So we have Hydrangea Hill. There's firelight hydrangeas up there that have been there for years. But below the hydrangeas, this is all new that we planted. We have got anemones coming up, and look, y'all, they are happy. Now, yes, they are short. That's all right. The foliage appeared really early. It went through those cold weeks, and it did fine. Some of them look a little worse for the wear, but the flowers are blooming. I know they're short. You know what? It is what it is. So they are doing well. I would love to blame it on the cold and say they were newly planted and that's why I lost them, but it's not. So I have two soft touch hollies. There's two here and there's one down there. Planted them in late summer. Clearly they did not make it. So how do you know the difference between a shrub that was just under some winter stress, like the better boxwoods down there, as opposed to maybe a plant that is no longer with us? Well, first of all, it's lost all of its leaves, which maybe not a problem, but come in here and you start snapping, and then all that foliage, I mean, I got the stems are just snapping. So if I snapped all the way down, they're dead. So they're gone. Now, even people who've been gardening for years, professional gardeners, we still lose plants. So if you lose a plant, don't worry, it happens to the best of us. It is not necessarily the plant's fault, because I have got plants, the same exact plant behind Jerry. I've got them up here and they're doing great. Maybe it was the time of year. Maybe it was the gardener. Maybe I gave it too much water, not enough water, right? There's a whole host of things that could have happened in this situation. I'm taking this as an opportunity to switch things up. Below in the cottage garden, below these garden boxes, I have the Firelight Tidbit hydrangeas. So guess what I'm going to do? I have a Firelight Tidbit in one garden and another garden up here. They're not getting enough sun, so I'm going to dig them up and transplant them to the areas where these Touch of Gold hollies are. So that way I will have consistency with that same hydrangea up here on Hydrangea Hill that I have in the lower garden. So don't worry if you lose a plant, all is not lost. You just pivot, you just do a little change your route. There you go. Everything else, let's see, we're gonna move on. So I do need to prune my hydrangeas. This area does need to get a nice layer of fresh mulch in here. Your panicle hydrangeas, if you have not pruned your panicle hydrangeas, again, we're in the season. This is the perfect time to do it. You absolutely can go ahead and get those done, and all will be well. You're going to get beautiful flowers, of course, in the summertime. Coming up here, so this area is doing well, but it needs some attention. So we planted tons of like low growing perennials, ground covers. We've got a lot of the new Delospermas from Proven Winners. We've got creeping jennies and ajugas and all sorts of fun things in here. But you can see that clearly we need to come in here and put mulch down. This never got its final mulch, and you can see that we still have like the lighting wire exposed. I have got red soil exposed. This is part of those times, this time of year, where this is where we have constantly, there are things to do in the garden. So you can be laying down compost if you haven't done that yet. You can lay down some fresh mulch, hide that soil, because remember, the more plants you put in and the more you can cover the ground with a ground cover, whether it's a natural ground cover like a plant or a mulch, that type thing, you're going to help prevent weeds. It helps prevent erosion. So plus it makes it look very pretty. So those are some things that you can think about. And yeah, so that's one of those areas. The rest of the garden here has been done. It's just that the steps have not been done yet. And so that is something that we need to do. All right, so also coming on over here, we've got to get some more flagstone, because this is going to be like a natural little path right here to easily come through. Really super impressed with how my Perfecto Mundo double white azaleas did in that cold, because they too were planted late in the summer. And my gosh, y'all, they don't have any burn on them whatsoever. They look great. Of course, that Perfecto Mundo double white is a reblooming azalea from Proven Winners. It is a beautiful double white flower on it. So very excited with how well that they handled. And just to prove, we walked right by and I didn't even tell you, just to prove that this is still a great plant. So this is what that soft touch holly is supposed to look like, as opposed to the sticks that are up on Hydrangea Hill. So you can see there's just a slight difference between this one and the ones that are up on the hill. So yeah, that's what they're supposed to look like. Very, very happy though with how everybody else is doing. Let's see where we want to go now. Let's, oh, you know what I just spied with my little eye? Come on over here. I was just getting ready to say that we don't have any tulips popping up over here, but look. Can you see those? Look at that. We're going to tiptoe over. So these are the golden Perisma. I think that's how you say it. I don't know. They're beautiful, bright yellow tulips from our friends at Color Blends, and here they are popping up. So we had 700 of these guys in here. So cannot wait till we have just this mass of yellow going down. I'm already thinking about, of course, I have been thinking about our summer plantings, and because we have to plan, because we have so many plants that go in the gardens. So we have to plan accordingly so that we can have those plants here and we can grow them and get them ready. I believe what we're going to do here is that for the summer planting, we're going to have the mass planting more down front, like half the bed, perhaps, maybe a double row. I'm not sure exactly how we're going to do it, of the double up pink begonias, because I love those begonias. They're so low maintenance. They last throughout the entire season. They're not divas. They don't require a ton of fertilizer. And then I think behind it, we're going to do a sun patient, maybe the compact white, to give me a little height color difference. It'll be fun. And yes, y'all, throughout the winter, especially here in the South, this is one of those things that you folks that are covered in snow, you don't have to deal with. Winter weeds here in the South. Sometimes I think the winter weeds are more prolific than the summer weeds. You know, if we were covered in snow, we wouldn't have this problem, but you know, the grass is always greener on different sides of the street, right? So anyway, that's one benefit of being covered in snow. You don't have to worry about weeding your garden because you're covered in snow. So let's do this. Let's head up and head on down to the front yard. So if you're a faithful follower of Creekside, you're going to notice on the front porch that I technically still have my same Christmas urns going. You know, it's almost Valentine's, so I'm just carrying it over. You know, all the other Christmas decorations are gone, but there you go. So in this bed, this is our shade bed here along the side of the house. This is a white wedding hydrangea from our friends at Southern Living. It is a panicle. Clearly had lots of blooms on it last year. It desperately needs to be pruned. So this is the time of year. Again, those panicle hydrangeas, your smooth hydrangeas, you want to prune them. So I will get them nice and pruned. Why do you prune your panicle hydrangeas? This is a great example. So if Jerry can show you, you can clearly see where this was pruned last year. Do you see that right here? See that little notch? Look what comes off. You have 1, 2, 3 stems. Now, as opposed, if I had left it, I may have had 1 flower. Now I have 3 flowers. Same thing over here. I pruned it down here. I got 3 stems. I got 3 flowers. This is why we prune our panicle hydrangeas, our smooth hydrangeas, because they bloom on that new growth. When you prune it, it encourages more new growth, which then gives you more flowers. So when you prune it, you're going to keep exponentially getting more and more flowers. It is that time of year here in the South where our Japonica camellias are getting ready to start blooming. This is a white by the gate, and look at that. Pure white blooms on it. And I will say that this camellia has done an outstanding job here. This will probably be, I think this is her 3rd winter. Yes, she just is in her 3rd winter here, has grown really well. It has taken me some time to get to this point. The very first year, that was the year of the Arctic blast, I about lost her. I had no blooms on her whatsoever, even though I covered her. Last year, I got a couple of flowers. This year, I've had a lot more flowers. I am training her to go up the trellis. It is not necessarily a flat climbing camellia. This is what I'm doing. So I just come in every so often and kind of attach her to the trellis so that she stays nice and tight and pulled in. But very excited with how she's doing. When you're growing, especially your shrubs, you've got to be patient, y'all. Gardening is going to teach you patience. Camellias especially will teach you patience. So the first year they sleep, the next year they creep, and the 3rd year they leap. So she is beginning her leap year for sure. It is also that time of year for hellebores, Lenten roses. And I have the biggest Lenten rose probably on my property is right here. Now, I have not pruned this Lenten rose yet. And you can see that because this is typical what your Lenten roses are going to look like. This was foliage from last year, so you can see that it desperately needs to be cleaned up. Those outer leaves are, they're burnt, they're tattered, they look a little rough. Here in the middle is where we have the new foliage. So I will come in here and take out this old foliage. I also want to do that because look what is hiding underneath here. All those beautiful flowers. Yes. So I need to come in here ASAP, clean it up, and all you do is you find that ratty leaf, go all the way back, and you cut it. Okay, so that is not hard. You just find where they are. You can even just pull them up and trim around. That way we want to expose all those beautiful flowers and let them come up and be really happy. I was talking with Mimi this week, and when we had those weeks of extended cold weather, like we had for us in North Carolina, I know the other parts of the country, this is nothing for y'all, but for us, this is not normal. Our plants are not used to it. We're not used to it. We had multiple weeks, like straight consecutive, of like low temperatures, like in the teens. And then we had multiple days where we never even got above freezing. Sun was out, but it was not above freezing. And so we had some plants that took hits. Generally speaking, some of us that took the worst hits were our euchras. And so she was a beauty. You can see she is really flat. I have the same one in the the hay rack right here, and then I have one in a container as well. They took a massive hit. I don't know if she'll come back, so I'm just going to leave her alone. I'm going to leave it alone right now. While she looks bad, the other one looks absolutely worse. Same thing here with my eucharella. This one is looking absolutely devastated. So I may have lost those because they were just not doing well at all. Same thing, like this is the one that looks the absolute worst. Like, look at this. I mean, I would pretty much say she's gone. So I'm not even going to try to save her because all that is just, it is rough looking, terrible looking. Those of you that have macrophylla hydrangeas, this is a zebra hydrangea. Look at this beautiful new growth that she is pushing out. Like I am seeing, that's not even, can you see that? And then look over here. This is actual green right here. Look at that. So if you have macrophylla hydrangeas, those classic mop head hydrangeas, do not prune it right now. Leave it alone. Do not touch it. If I were to come in here and prune it like I would my white wedding down there, I have just cut off all of my flowers for this year. So leave it alone. It is perfectly fine. We're just going to leave it. Now, speaking of a plant, we're going to look at paisley pup right here. Some of those plants, like the eucharas and the eucharella in containers, they didn't do so good. Look at paisley pup. This is the new dog hobble shrub from Proven Winners. I planted it in, I don't know, mid-fall here. It is doing great. I did not cover it at all this winter. It had the same exposure as everybody else. And look at it. Yes, there is a little bit of burn on it. Overall, it is beautiful and doing really, really well. That's not going to stay in the container probably only maybe for like 2 more weeks because I am going to take it out of that container and I am going to, Jerry doesn't even know this yet, so he's learning with you. I'm going to take out the paisley pup and I'm going to replace my Florida Sunshines with the paisley pup because they're struggling. They are not doing well. And why do I say that they're struggling? Well, if you come on in here, like one is just, it is a twig. Like it is, like half the plant is already dead. And that paisley pup is going to be more sun tolerant than my Florida Sunshines. Jackson and I limbed up our forest pansy in the fall. And so because I was getting way too much shade here and I need some more sun because even my hostas were struggling right here. So we limbed up the tree. So I'm going to get more sunlight in here. And even still with my Florida Sunshines, every year before the tree pushes out its leaves, these really burn, so they get pushed back. My paisley pup can handle much more sun, and they're wider than they are tall. I think they're like 4 feet wide, 3 feet tall, something like that. So I can only add 3 will be perfect right here. So that is fantastic. If you have my arborvitae fern, it too took a big hit in the cold. No worries, don't worry about it, it's fine. Probably come back through here and just cut it all the way back, and then it will reflush. Some fun, look at these cutie patooties. We've got, this is the woodland blend of bulbs from Color Blends, and this is a mix of nice petite little bulbs, flowers, and the little crocuses. This is my first ones that are blooming, so I'm so excited to see those. And then these would maybe be like daffodils or hyacinths, those kinds of things. So they are doing quite well in here. And then of course the little mushrooms, the little shroomies, aren't they so sweet? The great thing about these shroomies is that you can move them. So here in the winter time, this is a good spot for them, but maybe come this summer, I want to bring them up. So these are great ceramic. They have their stakes. It's all one piece. You can pick them up, you can move them, you can put them wherever you want. This is the blueberry, I think the blueberry mix. So we have these online. There's 3 different recipes, but they're all different sizes. And they're so stinking cute. But that's what I love, is that you can just, like, depending on the garden, the season, wherever you are, you can put them in containers, you can do whatever. You just pull them out, move them around, and they're very, very versatile in the garden for sure. We have talked about this before, more things that we need to do. This is a very busy time in the garden. Very, very, very busy. So while this bed is pretty much, quote, done, this bed has not had any attention in here. And so it needs some love. And so what we're gonna do is, I have got lemon coral sedum that was beautiful at the end of the season, but with those really cold temperatures, it took quite the hit. Lemon coral will be a perennial for us. Proven Winners sells it as an annual, but for us it is a perennial. And so what I will do is just come in here and I will probably just go ahead and just give it a haircut. Definitely trim it up off of the pathway, anything that's dead, and really you can just kind of pull at it and it will come up just like that, you can see. And then the plant is still there, and then when we get those warmer temperatures, it will flush back out. So that's something to do with that. And if that still looks terrible, Jerry's giving me a look. I also happen to know where to find a lot of lemon coral, so I can always replant. But it certainly won't hurt to go in here and try to clean it up. And if it comes back, great. And if it doesn't, then I can always plant some more. He's giving me googly eyes behind saying, Jenny, don't worry about it, just get new stuff. Your perennial grasses. If you have not pruned your perennial grasses, it's time. We need to do it. I have started. Clearly, I haven't done these. This is the Apache Rose. And so the reason that we want to do that is because hopefully I don't have any yet. I don't see any. Perfect. What we want to do is we want to gather up these grasses like a big old ponytail. You literally can put a bungee cord around it, tie a string around it, whatever, and then cut it. Basically 6 to 8 inches off the ground. Give it a flat top. This is not going to come back. This is dead. This was last year's growth. It makes a great fire starter. So Jerry and I are going to probably do some campfires around the fire pit because the kids are going to be gone this weekend. We actually get the house to ourselves. What, the first time in 2 years, honey? Yes, we're so excited about this. It's only for 2 nights, but we're so excited. So we're going to have some campfires around the fire pit. This is great fire starter. So you can gather it up, cut it off. We want to cut it off before the new growth pops out. And so there you go. So all you parents of teenagers, I think you're picking up what I'm putting down without having 2 nights with no kids in the house. Great. Okay, let's see. Where shall we go? Ooh, I know. Let's come back here because I want to share some plans with you. Now, again, this is messes and successes, my friends, coming on through here. Here we go. Come back. We're gonna bob and weave through the garden, y'all. This little garden spot. Oh, see, I haven't been back here in a couple of weeks, so this is very exciting. Okay, this back side of the garden shed was a new garden for us last year. Now the Oakland hollies have been here, and we had planted, this is a star magnolia that we planted, I don't know, years ago, I think it was. And then this year I was like, I really want to develop this, and because we had the signature experience for the first time, and I knew that people would see it from here. So we planted annuals. It was a beautiful garden. Very excited about it. So
Flowers.
we did. We had it was the Mini Vista Hot Pink was back here. So we did the Mini Vista Hot Pink all along through the edge right here. So let me tell you what's here. And let me tell you what we're gonna do this coming season. So this is what I'm so excited to see. Look at this. So this is the star magnolia. All these little fuzzy tips right here, y'all. Hopefully these are all going to be flowers. So they do a pure white flower that smell amazing. So this is a different kind of magnolia than maybe what you're used to. Very excited about this. Oakland hollies. These are this is the Monarch series of buddleias from Walter's Gardens. This is the Cherry Royale, I believe it is. Have that on the website. A gorgeous raspberry pink buddleia. So we've got 2 of those. Then we've got the eyeliner irises. So this is what the foliage is right now. So that iris it died back. So I need to come in here and just kind of clean that up. So you've got them here and you've got them here. This fall, we planted some roses of Sharon. We did the Poly Petite, so there's 1 on each side. So we've got a Poly Petite. I need to come in here and just give it a light little trim. If you missed on how to prune your roses of Sharon, then you can. I don't know that we did get those added to the website.
I think I talked to.
We need to, if we don't have Poly Petite, we're going to get Poly Petite, because this is a short, a little tiny, like a 3-foot size. It is so stinking cute. So we have those. And then this was the dark lavender chiffon. So it's a dark, this will get nice and big. You can see we still have, I haven't cleaned up the sweet potato vine because I was waiting for this moment. I'm waiting for it to die back so I can just pull it off. So this coming year, this is what we're going to do. We're going to put that same, that upside key lime sweet potato vine here, because it's going to be bright chartreuse green. I love it. It's a great way to hide something that's ugly like an old chicken coop. So we'll put that there. Then we'll have our roses of Sharon right here. And then all right here. It's not going to take very many of them. It's just probably going to take maybe 6 or 7 of them. We're going to do the Cleome. So we're going to do the Senorita Rosalita Cleome. Gets nice, some height to it. It's a soft pink compared to this darker pink right here. The purple of the roses of Sharon. It'll be gorgeous. And I'm going for big, bold colors here. And then because this place bakes, I mean, this garden fries. We have it on irrigation, but it absolutely fries. So all through the front, basically from Poly Petite to Poly Petite, we're going to come through here with the new Mojave Mango Portulaca. It is a nice mango, it truly looks like mango, orange color, gorgeous. And yes, I am putting mango orange with pink. Absolutely, you can do that. Plus, because don't forget, we have back in here in this little corner, lying under the ground, we have the Rockin' Deep Purple Salvias. So you've got deep dark purple, the structure of that eyeliner iris, Mojave Mango right here, Senorita Rosalita. I mean, it is going to be a pollinator paradise back here. It is going to be absolutely gorgeous. Speaking of doing gorgeous, let me show you over here, because we haven't visited this area since I did it. So we have got the blackberry bushes and we have got the blueberry bushes. Y'all, really impressed with this. Even with all those cold temperatures, yes, there is some burn on the foliage. These are both thornless blackberries. These 3 are from our friends at Southern Living. These are the, oh shoot, who was it? Oh, the Osage, yep, Osage. So the thornless blackberries, and then we have the Taste of Heaven from Proven Winners. So we will need to kind of keep these trellised a little bit, keep them contained. And then the blueberry bushes. So look how these have kept, this is the Hello Darling from Southern Living, kept that foliage. Really impressed with them that they held on to their foliage like they did. I mean, I was quite impressed. And then these are pink lemonades, blueberry bushes. So starting to put out some little buds right here. There you go. We won't talk about the dahlia garden because we haven't done anything there. Yes, back here. Okay.
Just the folks haven't They've asked about these hydrangeas.
They have asked about these hydrangeas. And this is, so these trees, because we always get asked about these trees, these are cryptomerias. Jerry and I came through and planted these cryptomerias right before they even started building the house. So these trees have been here for 21 years. It is a double row. They are not on irrigation. Jerry fertilized them the first couple of years that they were growing, and that is it. But our property line is basically right behind them. And so my daddy always taught us, you never know what's going to happen. So go ahead and plan for privacy. It's just woods back there, but you never know. So that's what that is. The hydrangeas are phantom hydrangeas. Similar to limelights, if you're not familiar with phantoms. Obviously a nice big panicle hydrangea. For example, great growers. Look, I pruned it here last year. This is where it got pruned. This was all the growth from this year. Again, this is why we prune panicles. One cut produced 3 big, huge flower stalks with huge, strong blooms on them. So obviously I need to come through here and prune these. We were growing these at the nursery like years ago, and they just, these particular ones didn't sell, and it was to the point of like, you got to do something with them. So we're like, well, let's just plant them. So we did this hedge down through here. So I need to come through and prune them, go ahead and fertilize them with rose tone. That's a great fertilizer for your hydrangeas. And then also I need to come through here. This is Solidago. This is a great late season bloomer, native plant. This is fireworks. But look, this was the flower. These were the flower stalks. Here's my plant. It is not hard at all. Just come through, clip, 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 and then there you go. Back here, we also have, yep, I see my first ones. They're popping up. Look, the daffodils. So these are the jonquils. This is the, from Color Blends, my name just went out. They're huge. They are huge and they smell divine, and I absolutely adore them. And they go the whole length here in the front. It'll come to me in a second. Just when I randomly shout out a name, that's gonna be the name of the...
How many years ago did we do these turkeys?
The Berkeys and the emerald greens. We did those, it was pre-COVID. That's how I gauge a lot of things, y'all. It's like, oh, it's pre-COVID. So it was probably, but we filmed it. Mm-hmm. So maybe it was post-COVID.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, because we started, again, that's how I gauge everything. We started YouTube, our first real, like, going into YouTube was right before COVID hit. But we did a video on this, so that would have been post-COVID. So maybe the fall of 2020. Yeah, so 4 years. Overall, they have done well, and we'll meander that way. Overall, they have done well. We did lose one when we got them. Their root balls, these were B&Bs, and their root balls were massive, and we really didn't have the right equipment to bury them, and we couldn't get them like fully in the ground, all of them. This one is in the ground well, so it's doing fine. We have not really done anything to them. Again, we were just trying to look at extending that privacy line. We lost the one Berkey was here in the middle, so we lost it. When we first planted them, people were making comments about how we were like mounding up the soil. No, we weren't mounding up the soil. We couldn't get the tree in the ground. So this is by far is the worst one. It's fine, clearly. So it's doing just fine, and then they're all doing well. So this is a Berkey, which is that blue cedar, and then behind it is the green giants. So that's the same as the green giants that we have up there. So everybody's doing well. We really do need to come in through there and give them a good undercoating of some compost and some holly tone would be great. They would love it. Somebody was asking the other day how my camellias were doing down here. Let's find out together how my camellias are doing down here. This is another, we planted it and forget it. There you go. Okay, so these are all japonicas, meaning they're gonna bloom now. And this is Seafoam, and Seafoam, she's doing fine. Yes, she's thin, obviously, but she's covered in some buds. So that's always a good sign. Again, could I take care of these better? Of course, I'm sure, but a lot of times that gets absolutely the very end of my radar and I just don't even think about it. So some are doing better than others, but they all have buds on them. This is Pink Perfection. I got all of these from the Camellia Forest, an online Camellia nursery that you can check out. This sweet one is black tie, and I don't see any buds on black tie, but yet she has the most foliage. Like overall, she looks the healthiest, but she doesn't have the buds, which is fine. That's kind of what they do. Yeah, these are not on irrigation, y'all. Like zero irrigation. I do put compost around them, but there you go. It is what it is. When life slows down, I'll take better care of them. How about that? Jerry and I were in here in the back beds just the other day talking. Pretty soon we're going to start redesigning these beds. I love the shape of the beds. I love the bones of the beds, but I don't like the placement of the other plants in here. So we're going to kind of rework it, make it look more uniform, more cohesive. So that will be another big project that we will be working on to get that all ready for spring and summer. Let's see. You want to head up to the berm?
Okay.
Let's go up to the privacy berm, see how it's doing. Welcome, my friends, to the privacy berm. This is, of course, we are on the nursery side of the privacy berm. We put this in a couple of years ago to give us privacy between our home and the nursery. And man, things are growing. Now, I will tell you, when I say I have literally not touched the nursery side of the berm, I have not touched it. So you're going to see things as they are and have been, and I will tell you what needs to be done, okay? We have been so impressed with our North Pole arborvitaes. They have done just a great job. We have them here staggered planting to give us some weight on the end of this flower bed and to give us some privacy from the nursery. Your daylilies, right? So here we have some great rainbow rhythm of the series. This is the something glory. What does that say? Oh, Blazing Glory. There we go. That's what it is. So we have the Blazing Glory daylilies here. Need to be cleaned up. The Summerific Holy Grails behind it. We've talked about this before. I've showed you how to do it. You literally cut them to the ground. So all this needs to be cleaned up. Now, this is one of my favorite shrubs that I was not expecting to love as much as I do, but I do. So this is the Winecraft Gold Smoke Bush. We planted this as a 1 gallon when we put the berm in. And y'all, I'm 5'2", so the tippy top I'm sure is at least 6 feet tall. It's just an absolutely beautiful chartreuse color, fast grower obviously, and an absolutely great shrub. So I love this Winecraft Gold here. Now, talking about the perennial grasses. Within this berm, we have got the Niagara Falls grass. Just like I said, it is time to go ahead and cut that. We need to come in here. We need to gather everybody up and cut it. We do love leaving the grasses with their foliage because it brings winter interest. The birds like to have protection in there, so they will go in there, but you want to get them cut back before the heat hits. Amsonia, go ahead, cut it to the ground. This is the string theory, just go ahead and cut it. My Agastache, this is the Queen Nectarine. You can see all of this right here was nothing but flowers. Very much like the Solidago back there. Beautiful flowers, but look at that beautiful foliage down there, right? It's already got new foliage that it's pushing out. So we can go ahead and cut back these stalks and have our nice little pretty green mounds poking up right here. Great pollinator attractor. I love this plant. We have the little lime punches that have on each side of the purple plum. So it's time to go ahead and prune those. The daffodils are coming up. We've got tons of daffodils in here. We also have lots of the Shasta daisies. So we have the Daisy May. it got to be a little too crowded in here. So what we had to do is we're gonna have to take out the Shasta daisies, because between the Pugster pinker butterfly bush and the little lime punches, we were running out of room and the daisies were getting squished out. So we're gonna dig them up, and then we will transfer and move them over to the house side of the berm when we put those shrubs in. So your butterfly bushes, we don't prune those until we start to see new growth popping out. So while they may look a little ratty, we want to wait until we see new growth coming, and then you can safely cut them back by a third, a fourth, whatever it is that you need to do. Now, look at this. I've got 2 of them. This is a sweet talker viburnum. Now, sweet talker is for those more southern climates. When we had those weeks of extended cold temperatures, let's see if I can get in here and help Jerry. It killed all of the foliage. So it should be an evergreen for me, but with those cold temperatures, you can see she basically lost all of her leaves. So they are falling off, they're dead. This happened the very first year that we planted them, but she's fine because she is pushing out these flowers. And it's called sweet talker because these early, and not even spring, it's winter, y'all, it's February, pushing out those nice blooms on that. If you want to prune it, I pruned it some last year in the heat of the summer because it was just getting too big and lanky. I'm just going to leave her alone, let her push out that new growth, and she will be just fine for sure. Repeat plants in here. More of the Niagara Falls, more of the Holy Grail coming through here, doing nicely. I've got some Weigelas. These are the Vino Verdes in here. Don't touch them, just leave them alone, and there you go. We also have, this is one of another favorite tree that I was very surprised with. This is the, I always have to think, we have a thunder head and a thunder cloud. This is the thunder cloud black pine, Japanese black pine, right? Or thunderhead. The thunderhead and the plum is a thunder cloud. I'll put the right name. Okay. The tree is well, they're both trees. Okay, so this is the thunderhead. This is the thunderhead black Japanese pine. It's been a long day, y'all. But this is what I call like a Dr. Seuss tree. It is so stinking happy here. It is, I would say it's a slow grower, but it's actually done really, really well here. It is candling right now. So when we say candling, that is these nice little gray stalks at the top. That is all of your new growth. Those candles will open up, and that's what your needles come out to be. The birds love this tree. They will hang out in it. They will take shelter in it. It is an absolutely fabulous tree that I just absolutely love and adore. And then last but not least, we're gonna wrap it up here, is I was driving by this morning and Jackson had laid down some mulch for me, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago. My snowflakes have started to bloom, y'all. Look at this. So in here, we've got the little snowflakes. So sweet, I love it. So that's what is all through here. So these are the first ones of the season. So the spring flowering bulbs are coming up. The Edgeworthia is quite happy. The Camellias are happy. Things are starting to wake up here at Creekside, both at the house and at the nursery, and it's very exciting. I, on one hand, am super excited for the season to start, and on the other hand, I'm embracing still kind of the slowness of winter, but it is going to be a great season and we have lots of fun plans. So we like doing these tours because we like showing you the garden, what it looks like in real life, all seasons of the year, whether it is the lushness of summer or the new awakenings of spring or the barren winter. All the things. So we like showing those to you and to see how things progress over the years as well. So we hope you have gotten some inspiration out of here, some knowledge, some entertainment. Y'all have an amazing day. We'll see you in the next video. Bye, friends.